Oh, we going right in. It went quick. We live with it.
Hello on another episode of the Convo Guy podcast. Today I have Brian.
What it
It's a
do?
pleasure having you back once again.
Always a pleasure. Glad to be here.
Thank you. On today's episode, we plan on discussing the impact of divorce on children. At what
Let's get
age did you
into it.
first realize your parents were divorced?
It's kind of hazy. I was born in '96, so I don't know. I want to say maybe between like the ages of 8 and 10. It's kind of hazy.
It's like foggy.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like I probably blocked a lot of that stuff out, like intentionally suppressed it. But yeah, probably like 8 or 10.
What is the impact that divorce has on children?
It's crazy. Like I think growing up, being divorced, I didn't really know what kind of impact it had on me as much until I got older. But I think that's the case with a lot of people. Like the more people I run into now as an adult who are the product of like a broken home or the product of a single parent home, if depending on the relationship with that single parent is like that shit really like messes them up a lot. I know I can't cuss. I feel like it disrupts the natural flow of my vernacular, which is kind of bad because I probably shouldn't be cussing all the time. But yeah, I feel like it's I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it. It's kind of like a case by case basis. I think like for a lot of people, it leaves some sort of void in them that like needs to be discovered. I don't really know what it's like. I feel like I kind of know what it's left for me, but at the same time, I feel like there's still some unpacking to do there, especially with not having like clarity on the reason why my parents got divorced. Like one person says my mom says it's this and my dad says it's that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like at one point I just kind of gave up on it's like why did you guys even get divorced to begin with? I feel like it definitely fucked me up in the sense of like relationships and love and stuff. You know how when everybody tells you like, oh, okay, like you think you found the person but you're young and everybody's like, don't get tied down, you're young, like go live your life, go do what you want to do, like you're in your 20s, like whatever. Like instead, like there's nothing wrong with finding that person like young if you really like find that person and y'all are really like locked in like that. But I feel like society and like especially like with divorce, like okay, you see your parents like now they're with other people. Like I'm seeing my dad now he's with like other people, other women, this and that. You know what I'm saying? It's like okay, so what was like better about this person than my mom? Like because I see my mom, I'm like can't no woman top my mom. Like when I'm looking at a girl, like when I'm dating a girl, like I'll think about like okay, does she have the traits of like a mother? Like does she have the traits of like my mother? Because like I was like a product of really being raised by my mom for the most part as well my dad, but he was always working, so I couldn't like he wasn't really around too much. And my brother, he's 5 years older than me, so he was always going with his homies and stuff like that. So I was like really just by myself all the time, and I guess that's like another thing, like being by yourself. Like I feel like that kind of fucks you up too, because then you kind of learn how to like not really depend on somebody, which is kind of the point of being like with somebody and being like codependent, not in like a toxic way, but you know, like y'all look out for each other. Like you're like, I got your back, you got my back type shit. So yeah, I'm going off on 10. Ask the next question. Ask the next question.
Okay. Oh no, that
That
was
was
one.
good because
Yeah.
it made me think of there's a word where it's like if you can't match, then what can you bring? I forgot what that word is.
It was like equally yoked.
Nah, but that's a good
Oh,
one
you
too.
know
Because
that
that's
one?
important.
Okay.
That's actually really
Yeah.
important. Also,
Yeah.
there's a word where it's like, what are you bringing to the table? If you leave a certain relationship and then you're back in the dating pool, she has to be better than the last one, or at least like.
Right. You're
I
always
forgot what that's
comparing that to your last one. I don't know. Maybe it'll come
It'll
to
come to
you. Okay. Maybe it'll come to you. Yeah.
It'll come to you.
But yeah, that equally yoked one, that's some girl that I used to talk to. She would always say that we can't be married if we're not equally yoked. But I was like, what does that even mean? And then so she told me what it meant. And I was just like, oh, I mean, like, I guess, yeah. Because that's like a biblical
Yeah, it's a
thing. Yeah. Like, that's a biblical saying. I was like, okay. Well, yeah, you're right. You know, like it makes sense. But
Yeah, because it's deeper than compatibility.
yeah, it really is. It's so much deeper. Especially like I feel like nowadays people it's just really like physical. Like that's the initial like boom. Of course, well, I guess it kind of like always is for the most part, but I feel like it's exaggerated.
What's the difference between parents divorcing with no kids versus them divorcing with kids?
Everything, bro. Like that's like break. I feel like it's funny. I see the video. It was just like, all right. It was like a little skit or whatever. But basically, it was like, dude was like, all right, if we're divorced, if I'm divorced with no kids, like I'm not even gonna bring it up because it's basically just like a breakup. But I mean,
But like from a man's standpoint, because we're men, so like just when a breakup happens, like we feel the long-term effects longer than women.
Oh,
'Cause
for
it's just
sure.
like it just
you
lingers.
say I'm still hurt.
Yeah, like those moments and those memories that stay in our hearts. Compared to women, it's just like the next guy would be willing to scoop them up. And
Yeah.
so a man who deals with a divorce, whether he was single or had kids, you think he'll be feeling the same?
No, he'd be feeling different because at that point it's kind of just like a more exaggerated breakup, like because how would you feel if a girl told you like I've been married before or I was a fiance before but I was engaged before but I don't have any kids, like how would that make you feel? Would that be a make or break for you? Would you be like, okay, why? Like, of course you would wonder why, like what happened. But if it was just like, oh yeah, like I thought he was the one, he didn't turn out to be the one, and we went our separate ways. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that would be like as a big deal. It's like, okay, like now we have kids, like, and like marriage is a factor too. Like, if you marry somebody and then you have kids and then you like get divorced, like I don't know, like I think that's what kind of messed me up. Like that's what made me stop even like messing with church for a little while, because it was like you guys taking on church every Sunday, doing all this, doing all that, like supposed to be, like when you get married forever, holy matrimony, all that stuff, and then you guys just leave and you just split up, and it's like now you just like it's bigger than you at that point when you have kids. You know what I'm saying? Like you're no longer like, and that's what I think a lot of people, like if they have kids young, while like they'll try to like still keep chasing their dreams, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like if you're a parent, you're still your own person and you still deserve to accomplish the things that you set out for when you were younger in life, or even at your current stage in life. But it's like at that point, and you got to put your kids first and you got to make sure they're straight before I feel like you can really like dive deep into that. But I feel like if you're divorced with kids, it's like now you're just like leaving that person to figure out like what the fuck they got going on. But I don't know. Some people make it work. I don't know. I feel like my parents made it work pretty good. They're still chill with each other and everything. There's no like bad blood or anything like that. Like they came out for my graduation. My stepmom was there. My family was there. Everything. So I guess it just depends. Like I know a lot of people. That's what I'm saying. Like growing up and then like meeting people. Like some people's parents like really like shit on them, like really like talk bad about them and like talk down on them, like especially women. Like I feel like it really affects women a lot when they don't have a father in their life. Obviously, I'm sure as many people know who are going to watch this and you guys, but it's like if they don't have that father figure in their life, I feel like that really like scars them in a way that's like got to be dealt with. Like I don't know, and it's like I don't know how it can be resolved, because it's like at that point the damage is done. And it's like, especially if you have a mom who's always talking bad about the father, like, oh, your dad wasn't shit, that's why I left him, and like I'm not gonna let you see him, and blah blah blah. And even if you have just like like it's different dynamics to divorce. Like your parents could be divorced and you could be a rich kid and have 2 Christmases and 2 birthdays and it's like, but then that still probably messes with you in a certain way too, like that might have a certain effect, because there's people out there like that, that do live that divorce lifestyle of like the rich and famous, so to speak, and they're probably messed up in their own ways too. So, but yeah, I think being divorced with kids versus without kids, that's a huge difference. That's
Does co-parenting really help, or is it a BS reason for the parents to be around for the purpose of supporting their kids?
I think that goes back to what I just said about like as long as it's a healthy dynamic. Like if it's a healthy dynamic, sure, like yeah, co-parent, but it's like a lot of boundaries that come with that, I'm sure.
Because most parents just tolerate it. Most parents, they just do it for the purpose.
Yeah, of just like I'm in my kid's life still, whatever,
Like,
but I don't really want to be here.
Yeah, it's like, I don't like you, I just like the child. So let's just meet up together. It's like a mutual agreement. Like, we're
Yeah.
just here for the child. Cool.
Yeah.
So-
And you can see that energy in like some people when they like post photos of their parents when they're divorced and stuff like that. I just want to make sure, I really wanted to make sure I answered it correctly too, or just like gave a valid answer.
What are the short-term effects that children who come from divorced parents have?
I think it depends on age. Like short-term effects for me, I don't know, bro. Like, I want to say divorce didn't like affect me, but it's like I know it did because it does. But it's like I say, like I repressed so much of that out of my mind. It's like I really gotta go in there, which speaks volumes in and of itself. Like that's a good like chunk of my life that I kind of just like blocked out. What was the question? Tell me again.
The short-term effects that children who
yeah.
come from.
The short term.
So the short-term effects it varies basically.
It varies, yeah. Like I mean, it's kind of like acute versus like post symptoms. I don't know, man. Like
What about the long-term effects?
Okay, I'll get to the long-term effects. The short-term effects is, I guess, it's just like trauma and like shock and just your whole world is changing around you depending on the severity of the situation. Like for me, it was like, okay, we're getting divorced. Next week, I'm like being packed up with my sister and I'm going to California with my mom and my sister from Texas, and my brother and my dad are staying back in Texas. And it's just like, how is all this happening in a matter of days? And it's like all my friends, like I don't think I ever really got a chance to say bye to any of my friends. Of course I came back and visited, but it was just like, it just wasn't the same. I don't know, it just sucks. It's just a really like crappy feeling. At least for me it was. I cried like instantly. Like I don't even think I realized what was going on when it happened. Like I just remember coming home from church. I wanted to go play with my homie who lived down the street, Kier. If you watch this, shout out Kier, day one. Yeah, they were like, no, like you can't go. We got something to tell you. Got something to tell you. My brother was like, nah, just let him go. Cause I think they already knew. Cause like I said, they were older than me. So I think my brother and my sister, they're twins. I think they knew because like I said, they're 5 years older. So he was like, yeah, like just let him go play, let him go play. And then they just like sat us down all in the living room and then told us. And then I started crying. Then my brother and I think my sister started crying. It was just like a very chaotic scene. I still remember that scene in my head, like very vividly. But yeah, super chaotic, super.
And that's the short-term effects.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like the long-term effects, probably not being able to like believe somebody when they tell you that they love you, because you've seen love fail before. Isolating yourself, if depending on the situation, if you were an only child or if you grew up more with your siblings, like because a lot of people probably have been divorced but they are divorced but have closer siblings, so they still like grow up together. Like maybe just like the dad leaves and the mom takes all the kids, or the mom leaves and the dad takes all the kids. But yeah, long-term effects are it's very case dependent. Okay. Yeah, this would be a good group study. Like you definitely got to like ask more people about this topic maybe, and then do like a group study video. This would be good. That would be good. That would be a good video. Get like a circle going. You know what I'm saying? Like one of those meetings, like an AA meeting circle. Cause this is a good topic. Like find divorced people that are like, you gotta, like we're unpacking stuff right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's making me think.
Children of divorced parents may have a hard time expressing themselves due to the trauma that they have to deal with. So how are you able to find your voice and know that it was your voice and not you being impacted by, let's say, like a friend or someone that just was impacting you, let's say?
I think I'm very like impacted. I was impacted by people a lot.
Oh, okay.
Like in the wrong way too.
So you were impacted by others before finding your voice?
Not necessarily. Like I feel like I've always had a sense of independence and like self independence, like going against the norm, or not even going against the norm. That sounds stupid, but just individuality. Like I never really had to follow somebody to feel like I fit in, so to speak, but I did gravitate towards somebody who I felt like I could relate to and like resonate with, and tried to like mirror some of their ways, whether that was like good, like positive or negative, but just like gravitating towards the wrong people and being around the wrong people too. That influenced me. But like skateboarding has always been the one like anchor that I've had, because like regardless, like the last video I said, like you don't need a team, you don't need people, you don't need anything to go skate. And it's like, although I did have homies back then who skated, even if I wanted to just get out on my own or something, or I was just like bored at the crib and it's like I didn't have anything to do after school, I could just go skate. So that like kept me out of trouble too. Always. I feel like I could have got into more trouble by the wrong influences if I didn't have that. I would just went like all in, down the deep end.
What is something that took you a while to understand, coming from a background of being raised by a single parent? You have friends that are raised by a 2-parent household, so you're raised by a single parent. But what is something that just took a while for you to understand, and when you got it, it just stayed with you?
In what way?
Just certain like morals, certain code of conduct. What is something that just took a while for you to understand? Like it took a minute for you to grasp.
I'm thankful in a way for it, because it exposed me to a lot of different circles and a lot of different areas of life in the United States, which in a way,
Like for instance, like me, like, oh, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No,
Let's say I
you're
was
good.
raised by a single parent. It probably would have adapted me to the cutthroat culture that comes with living in a westernized society like the U.S. because everything is so fast paced.
yeah.
So I think that's something that I would have got, So it's just like
Yeah, I mean, I'd say like just being in different social circles and being around different people and different like places, because I feel like when I go to different areas, it's like I know how to maneuver and I know how to move. But that wouldn't have happened if I would have probably just grew up in the same place my whole life. I would have been more comfortable in one spot. Excuse me. And just yeah, like I say that's something that I didn't appreciate more so, because I would hate moving. Like that's the worst part about being divorced, is like, okay, especially if both your parents want to have you, it's like now I make friends over here, then I gotta move over here, now I make friends over here, then I gotta move over here. I can't go to this school because I live on that side of the street, so now I can't see those friends that I made. Now I gotta go to a whole different school. It's like constant like moving, and just it's annoying. It was annoying. And that's why I'm hesitant and reluctant to leave here or like know what my next move. I don't know if I want to stay in Georgia forever, but it's like I don't want to leave the homies behind. Like I got family here and stuff.
So you just described something that took you a while to understand, being raised in a single parent household. So what is something that you learned pretty quick, being a product of living in a single parent household?
Shit, you gonna have to provide for yourself. Yeah, like in my case, I had to figure it out. My situation was shitty, bro. Like I went through a lot of things that a kid probably shouldn't have to do. Like I don't know what my dad was doing with his money. Sometimes like I lived with him for a lot of years. I don't know what that man was doing with his bread. There's shit. Like I wanted to learn how to play the guitar. Got like my aunt Brenda, she's super wealthy. Well, she was really wealthy at one point, but she got me a guitar, amp, all this stuff. Boom. So my dad comes home one day, like the shit is gone. Like he used to pawn stuff all the time, like, but he wouldn't tell you. Like he would just take it and pawn it. And yeah, like guitar gone, amp gone. It's like, oh, like I have to keep the lights on. It's like, bro, like I'm 13 years old, like I'm 14 years old. Like this isn't my problem. Like I was probably younger than that, because I lived in Arizona when I was in middle school, which is, how old are you when you're in middle school? Like
10 to 14.
10 to 14. Yeah. So I was probably younger than that. I forget how like self-aware and how much you probably operate as an 8-year-old and a 9-year-old, especially in a divorce situation. But yeah, I was probably younger than that.
So you could have a PlayStation 2.
Dude, I probably rent through 3 PlayStation 3s
Due to your dad.
due to my
partying?
dad
Wow.
when he was back on that shit, bro. Like,
And he would
he
not.
wouldn't tell me. Like, I remember it was one time where some girl he was dating, we went to the pawn shop for whatever reason. Some girl he was dating, we all went, and I had said something about it because I used to say something about it. Like, I feel like that's a bad thing about me now too. That kind of instilled, like, some girl pointed that out to me too. Like, I'll joke about things, but I'll really be hurt about things, but I'll say it in like a joking way, like a condescending way. But it's like, to me, I'm not understanding it, but to them, I'm like being a dick. I don't know, whatever. But I would say, I said something like that, like, oh, like, he always like, damn, like, I want a PS3, like, I wish I had one, but he pawned it, blah, blah. So she actually bought me one. Like, there was one there, and she bought it, and she was like, yeah, like, he's not gonna pawn this one, like, he's not gonna do shit with this one. And he didn't. Like, I had that one all the way until I left Arizona. And yeah, call it like OG Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare 2 days, like, I had it forever. But yeah, man, like, yeah, bro, like, it was crazy. Like, there was times where I come home, no electricity. We got like an ice chest, like, you got the stuff from the fridge in the ice chest so it doesn't melt with ice on top. Like, yeah. But that's what I'm saying, bro. Like, I feel like a lot of people don't understand because, I mean, I think that's helped me, like, be more sympathetic too to a lot of people, because you really don't know what people are going through. Like, you might see somebody up in their life, or you might see them, like, doing well, but it's like, you never know. Like, at one point somebody could have been the most down bad they've ever been. It's like, you really can't just, like, take things for face value, especially nowadays, especially with social media. Like, so many people on social media comparing their life. Like, I've people have literally told me, like, yeah, like, I would feel better, but, like, I just, like, when I get on social media and I see and compare myself, I'm like, you're literally, like, killing yourself, like, trying to compete with people who you don't know how they got this stuff, if they're in, like, crippling debt because of this, to afford this lifestyle that looks so glamorous or whatever. Like,
Studies show that the effects of divorce decreased in the 70s and 80s, but skyrocketed in the 90s. Why do you think so?
Crack. No, I'm kidding. It's possible. Like, people rather just get high than deal with it. Right. Like, that might be the answer, low key. We might have just answered that one for real. Why the 90s?
I mean, that's probably a factor.
That might be a fact. You would have to ask somebody, like, older that question probably.
Oh no, I actually got the.
Because I was born in '96, so
I got the response actually. I wanted, but even though the response,
what did they say?
but I wouldn't have thought of that because in the 90s, that's like the people who took, yeah, bro. Like, I didn't even think of that because there was the AIDS epidemic in the 80s and crack. Yeah. So by 90s, it's like, yo, those kids.
They were locking us up, Rodney King riots and shit. Like, it was a hot time in America for, like, black people and like, colored people in general. So,
to be honest, yeah, that needs to be a factor, what you just said.
Yeah.
So basically, like, in the 70s and 80s, if you got a divorce then, it was due to, like, immorality or adultery. But in the 90s, I guess that started the movement of, if you're not pleasing me, if you're not making me happy, then I'm going to divorce you. So,
and I'm sure a lot more women were, like, working back then, like, working at that time in the 90s and more getting more career opportunities. So they felt like they didn't really need you and stuff.
People would break up or divorce for reasons of not wanting to be happy. But back then it was like, we're staying in this marriage even if we're both, crack addicts.
Right. So, I mean, that's the way it should be, bro. Like, you sign this contract, you put that ring on, bro. It's ride or die. Like, you're not leaving me. Like, unless you really out of line and out of pocket, you can work it out. There's a way. I know, like, when enough is enough, it's enough. But if you sign that contract, like, if you guys felt like you've been together long enough to where you know somebody to do that, then what? Then it's like, you should figure it out. Because obviously you knew me enough to legally marry and make this binding contract. So
we just stated some reasons, but are there any other reasons why you feel like people divorce so early in this current era?
Just because they don't know what they want. Like, they think they know what they want. And everything is so temporary. Like, people feel like everything is so replaceable. It's like another human being is no different than a commodity, any other commodity in today's society. I feel like it's like, oh, my phone breaks, just gonna go to the Apple store and get a new phone. This guy leaves me. Oh, I'm just gonna hop on Tinder or Hinge and I'm just gonna swipe and I'm gonna find another one. Or I'm just gonna go to the bar with my girls. Or I'm just gonna go to the bar with my homies and I'm just gonna hit on 10 chicks and I know at least 1 or 2 out of those 10 is gonna be going. So it's just everything is so much more fast paced, and if people are jumping in, that means people are jumping into things faster too. So like marriage, that's no joke. And then a lot of dudes, they're probably getting screwed over marrying girls. I don't know like how that shit is set up because I've never looked into marrying nobody, but I don't think it's in favor of us. So I think that's something to be careful of. But love, bro, love make you do some crazy things.
I feel like over the years, mankind has started looking at each other in a material sense rather than looking at the person's soul. They just started objectifying everything. So it's like, if you, and I wouldn't say just women, I say men too. So
Yeah.
over time, it'll just make it so easy. So over time, it'll just, yeah.
Don't cancel us.
I hope so.
Because we're leaving that in there.
So you have a DVD collection. So you're aware of many actors, actresses, producers, and directors. So who's a celebrity who grew up in a divorced household that had an impact on you?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't keep up with celebrities like that.
Oh, okay.
Like I might like a certain celebrity, like Jenna Ortega. Ooh, Jenna Ortega, that's big. I just went to go see that movie, Death of a Unicorn, with her in it. That was a good movie. You did great, Jenna. I'm gonna see you one day. Yeah, but I don't keep up with celebrities too much like that.
Oh, okay.
Not like their personal lives. So I wouldn't know.
What about like their adult life? Like a scandal that came out. Like he has such a holy like image that with this happening, it's just like, man. I'm gonna tell you 2 people that I could think of.
Who?
I remember Brad Pitt when he got that divorce with Angelina Jolie.
You thought that they were gonna be locked in?
Yeah,
forever?
because he's a sex symbol. Where
Yeah,
so
he's
when you
a man.
Yeah, so when you look at him, you just assume that like, he has his life in order.
Right.
But behind closed doors, it was probably just a mess.
And
drugs,
that's what I'm saying, bro. You can't take it. You can't take it for face value.
And even I think the second individual was Tiger Woods.
Yeah,
in 2009,
that's scandal.
When that came out, I was like, man, like you just had that face that like you're a married man, loyal man, like you. So
yeah.
Is there anyone like that? Like like they just went through.
I say not an actor, but Wiz Khalifa and Amber Rose, when they had their son together and then they split up, I was like kind of shocked by that.
Because of the 2 Asians or something, like he got caught up with 2 Asians.
I don't know why they split up. I just know they divorced. Like that was it. There was 2. He got caught up with 2 Asian chicks. Damn, that boy was wild. Damn, I didn't know that. But yeah, that was like a shock because like Wiz, like he was a stand-up guy. Like he was super relatable.
I think it was gonna happen regardless with Amber Rose.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like I didn't want to say that because we're trying to knock women back. It's just like, like then you throw like Amber Rose into the equation and it's just like, okay, like it was bound to happen. But then it's just like, that's like begs another question. It's like, why did you decide to have a kid with somebody who you knew was probably not gonna, if you got with everybody else and left them and were just thotting around.
Would you say Amber Rose with hair looks better than without hair? Because she's a baddie, but
I don't think I've ever seen her with hair. Let me look. Every time I've seen her, it's been without hair.
And I can't think of another shorty with no hair that can pull it off like that.
There do be some bad ones with hair. Ooh,
I mean, I guess
damn, I don't know, bro. The hair is she looking right with the hair. Yeah, I don't know. I got a thing for long hair, like long straight hair. Like I love that. I love that look, especially when you could do like the best of both worlds. Like you could curl it and then style it too. But she's bad without hair too. But I think I like the hair more. She looks different with hair. She looks so different. Ooh, yeah, she's a baddie. All right, next.
One variable that determines how well children function after a divorce is parents' conflict. In the last 4 decades, parents' conflict is more important than divorce per se on predicting how children function. So basically, if parents conflict a lot, that has more of a damaging psychological effect on that child more than a child whose parents separated. So why do you think that is?
You're just being subjected to more chaos. in more in a more like disruptive environment. But I feel like some people either start expressing themselves that way, or they sink into themselves more, like to get away from all of that. So okay, I feel like it can go two ways. Like some people can take that behavior and express it in certain situations in their life, like when that triggers that response in them, or they can become more reclusive and avoid conflict and chaos and all that stuff. But I think it happens because they're just subjected to a more chaotic place than somebody who didn't have to go through that stuff. My parents, they never really argued. I never really seen them argue. I don't know if they were arguing behind closed doors, but I never saw them argue. And I'm not a very angry person. Like I'll yell, but I don't get angry.
Yeah, I feel like children who, like the long-term effects of children who are in a household where their parents conflict, they're constantly in fear.
True. Yeah, that's another thing too. Yeah, you could feel uneasy.
Yeah,
And you
like
could feel
all the time.
unsafe.
So it's like anxiety all the time, fear all the time.
Yeah.
So, and then compared to children who live with just one parent, it's just like they probably accepted it at some point. Like, so they dealt with the short-term effects
And they
early
moved
on. So they just moved on. They're just like, yeah, like 5 months after realizing, because I remember you said what happened with you, and you were crying, but I'm pretty sure like that didn't extend for like a year, let's say.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it was just like 3, 4, 5 months of pain, but eventually you just accept it.
Yeah. At some point. Yeah, at some point. But like you said, like the fear of not being safe, my biggest fear, and still is the uncertainty of not having a safe space, because I had to move so much, and because I was put in a lot of situations where I would like come home to not having lights, or coming home to not having hot water, or coming home to like not having anybody at home to cook for, and I only have $1.25 in my pocket, and I gotta go find a way to get something to eat real quick. And it's like my father's infidelity, because that's really what it is, even, well, I probably can't air him out because who knows who sees this, but like I think his infidelity in the past was a major factor into why he was just like always having a different girl. And so because of that, we were always in a different place. And there was times when we didn't even have a place, but it'd be like, oh, like I have this one friend, blah, 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 like we can go stay with her. And it's just like, it's that fucked me up. Like that messed me up when it came to that. And it's like, even still, like, yeah.
How did you look at your dad then? And how do you look at him now?
I mean, he's cool. I love my dad. Me and him are best friends. We do a lot of stuff together. Even my mom, she's my best friend too. I think I have a closer relationship with her, just more on like I can like talk to her and like tell her things more, just because she's like she has more feminine energy, more like receiving to like listening and stuff. Not the responses that I get from her aren't more so like of a man, like or fucking just straight to the point. But yeah, he's cool. Yeah, I mean, I don't look at him no different ways. Everybody has their flaws, like, and he knows. Like, he admitted it to me. Like, we went out to eat one time. The irony of the situation was it was because of something that I said to my stepmom. Like, not even on like some angry stuff or whatever, but we ended up getting into it, me and my dad, just not on like something crazy, but I ended up. He was like, oh, like, I know, like, I haven't been doing what I need to be doing, blah, blah, blah. Like, I haven't been there. Like, I've just been focusing on the wrong thing, whatever, whatever. I don't know. He was going through something. But we ended up going out to eat. He invited me out to eat. And, yeah, it turned into, like, a therapy session for him. Like, he was like, yeah, like, I just need to get away. Like, I don't know. I feel like I want to move. I feel like I want to, like, just going through it. Like homeboy was going through it. It's like I didn't even know that, but it's like you could have told me that, or it's like you could have said, I don't know. But yeah, so everybody goes through their own thing. I don't know. He's a good man though. He's a hard worker. I do get that from him. Like no matter what, he's always had a job. Like no matter what we're going through, he's always had a job. I've always respected that and admired that about him, and I definitely mirror that in him, from him. But yeah,
That's awesome, bro.
yeah.
That's awesome that both parents like have made an impact on you.
Yeah, they really have. And
I had a question, bro, because when you were mentioning speaking with your father and speaking with your mother, he had an interview where they spoke about criticism and out of love when like parents check you individually, like maybe your pops checks you and then another time maybe your mom. Who
yeah,
would you rather be criticized by?
I feel like my dad, just because he's more chill about it, you know what I'm saying? He's like, I'm gonna tell you this, but like, do what you gotta do, you know what I'm saying? Or like, do you, but I'm just letting you know. Or, but my mom, she'll really like grill me about it, you know? Like, there's no like letting up. Like, if I fuck up, or like if I do something wrong, or if I need like correction or criticism, like she'll like really impact that into me. My dad, he's more like, free spirit, like hippie type vibe, you know what I'm saying, where she's like that too, but she'll be a parent when it's time to be a parent, and he'll be a parent when it's time to be a parent, but he's more like a friend parent, kind of, you
Almost like an
know.
older brother, or cool uncle.
Yeah, but he'll be a parent too. Like, there is times where he's literally like, he helped me through a lot of things, and he will sit me down and he will tell me some stuff that I need to hear. But if I had to choose who I would rather be criticized by, it would probably be him, just because he'll tell me what it is, he'll tell me straight up, but he'll also be like, all right, like, that's it, you know, like, he won't like keep pushing the subject or like keep bringing something up after he said it one time. He'll let, and he, because he knows I listen. Like, I'm not a bad person. I'm not a bad kid. I used to be a bad kid because I had no parental supervision and nothing but a bunch of time on my hands. So it was just like, and even then I wasn't bad. I was selling a little bit of weed. This is not self-incrimination. I was like saying, even then I wasn't good at that because I smoked weed. So anybody knows, if you sell weed, you can't smoke weed because you're just gonna smoke all your weed and you're not gonna make any money. So it's just, I just had too much time on my hands. I would skip school a lot, just dumb stuff. Stay out, sneak out, because she's a flight attendant, so she'd be gone. And she had a boyfriend at the time, Stan. He's cool. Shout out Stan. Like, on the weekends, he would just go to the club or whatever, and you know, like, you can't really police a kid that's not yours. Right. To a certain, it's only like, it's a very fine line with like that whole like yeah, you know, like even my stepmom, like, I feel like she struggled with that for a long time. But yeah, so he wouldn't tell me anything, so it's just like, yeah, I was just reckless. I was just running the streets and just doing what I wanted to do. Then more than anything, it's like I wouldn't even get in trouble with the police or anything like that, but I was just.
What can parents do to avoid their children being in the mix when it comes to parent conflict?
I guess trying to keep things separate, like, because that's still their personal life at the end of the day. So you can't involve your kids in that. Like, I feel like that's a fine line too. Like, we still got to have our personal life, and you still.
So like, what's a way of them like saying like, even though we don't like each other, let's respect the fact that we have this child. So we're gonna argue, but let's not drag this kid into our personal matter.
Yeah, it's like anything. It's like separating work from home, or work from friends, or whatever. Like, you don't. Well, there's people who probably do, but just complaining. You had an argument with your boss earlier. It's like, now if you carry that home with you, and now you have an argument with your wife, or you have an argument with, and now your kids are overhearing you. It's like, it's not healthy. If everything is going okay over here, you don't need to drag that mess into there. So if everything is going bad between you and your wife, but everything is like, the kids don't know about it, if their life is fine, if their life is happy, it's like, why would you even want to take that innocence away from a child?
So Jeffrey Dahmer, also known as the Milwaukee Cannibal.
Damn, we talking about Jeffrey. This got dark. Got dark quick.
I mean, this is a low-key dark topic.
Yeah, it kind of is. Yeah.
So he's known as the Milwaukee Cannibal. So his parents divorced when he was 18. But even before that, his mom, she had mental health episodes where she was constantly hospitalized. And his father was a chemist, so he was rarely into Jeffrey's early life. But when the parents were together, they were constantly arguing. Does this act as proof that a child who's in a household where parents conflict a lot is more detrimental to his psychological health to a child who's experienced divorce?
I would say yeah, but I don't know, because that's an extreme case. Like, homeboy really went off the deep end. if that was like if that did affect him, like he really went off the deep end.
Yeah, even
with
though
that.
like he got curious into like roadkill and all that, like this is a
Yeah.
factor because it's like,
I'm sure it was a factor for him.
you know, even though his dad was like busy being like a chemist professor or whatever.
Like you have too much time on your hand. Like
Yeah.
like that's the thing. If you don't have people, it's like what they say: idle hands are the devil's playground. It's like if you have too much time on your hand, if your father's always away, your mother's not that present, like
She was just present, but she just like mental crisis.
she doesn't know what's what. She's going through her own thing. Like you're a little kid trying to make sense of the world. You're having all these feelings and all these different sensations, and nobody's telling you what they are or what they mean. Next thing you know, you're picking up a knife and you're killing a chicken, and you like it, and now you want to see what it's like to kill a human or be on some weird like stuff. It's just like a breeding ground for the unknown. I feel like there's no guidance. There's nobody telling you what's right or what's wrong or like shaping you.
But would you agree that was one of the factors as to why homeboy just panicked?
I don't know. I would like to believe it was a contributing factor and he wasn't just born that way. But that like people have been trying to figure out why psychopaths and killers kill since the beginning of time. No, and then they don't even know sometimes. That's the craziest part about it. They don't even know why they kill people. They just on one.
How long did it take for you to love yourself?
I feel like I'm still trying to do that, but it's gotten better. It took me.
So you have moments where you love yourself and then you hate yourself and then love. So it's on and off.
It's kind of like an all day thing for real. Like self talk is my biggest challenge. I feel like I have a lot of negative self talk, and it's honestly for no reason. Like I'll doubt myself on plenty of things that I should have no reason to. Or if everything is going good in my life, I always try to figure something to worry about. Or I'll be like, okay, like all this is going good, so now something bad has to happen, which is something I think a lot of people can relate to, especially anxious people. But I just need to be more comfortable in the moment, and it's like, okay, everything is okay, like I'm safe, everything's fine. I'll deal with what comes of whatever comes when it comes my way.
You could answer this next question in a general standpoint or from your personal experience, but how are social relationships for an individual who comes from a household where his parents are divorced?
Thank you.
Thank you.
It can be challenging. It can be like you can feel kind of envious sometimes, like going over your homie's crib and there's one homie I had when I lived in Texas. This man had a big ass crib, like made. I took his bus home from school. Like you remember back in the day when you want to go to your homie's crib after school, so you would try to you would ride their bus to their crib and then have your mom pick you up or whatever you find a way back home. I did that and I chilled at his crib and that it was crazy, bro. And then I'm like, damn, like people really living like this. So that was like a moment I had. So it can make you kind of like envious of others, but I don't know. I don't think it makes it any harder to have social relationships. When it comes to friends, I think relationships are the hardest thing.
Do you feel like it was natural for you to make friends based on the individuals that had a path similar to yours? Like you made more friends with people that came from divorce households?
Nah, I don't think so. Because I don't like that's not something that I inquire about. Like when I meet somebody, like I'm not like, oh, like your parents are divorced. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's just gonna come up naturally at some point. And even if it was like I don't think it would make a difference. Yeah, like I don't know if either of y'all parents are divorced. So
I have both of my parents.
see, Joshua, he has both his parents. I still love him just the same. Andrew, are your parents divorced? You have both your parents are together?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, that's wonderful. I love that. Like I love to believe in love. Like still through everything, despite the things that I've been through, despite the things that like I've seen, like that's like a goal for me. And that's why I think I'm so hesitant on like marriage and waiting to find somebody, because at least to take that step, like dating, like having a girl, like that's cool or whatever, but actually marrying somebody, like I would never want to put my kids through what I went through or even like my wife or myself. If I got married and it didn't work, I'll never get married again. Like if I met somebody and she really wanted to get married, I'd be like, look, from day one, I'm letting her know, like, I'll put a ring on the finger. We could be locked in. We get like a little certificate with our name on it or something. But marriage, nah. It's too much. Like to have, imagine going through a wedding again, an engagement party.
And you'll be surprised, you know, especially like with these celebrities, they're married more than 5 times.
Yeah, but it's like you think they're throwing like big grand weddings, or they're just going down to the courthouse and being like, "Oh, we're married now," blah blah. Like I couldn't imagine throwing 5 like real weddings. Like you know how expensive that would be. You know how like you probably couldn't even get anybody to come after like the second wedding. Like, bro, you're getting married again. Like, we're not. Only reason people are showing up at that point is for the food and the free alcohol and the cake. Like,
so how many marriages would someone have to be in before it's like art? You know,
bro,
like you're just doing it for show at this point.
Like 2, 3. I feel like 3. Two marriages is cool. 2 marriages is cool. If you find somebody and y'all
I feel like 2 is like, all right, now, you know, we believe in you.
Right. You know, like that's your last chance.
Yeah, 3 is like, all right, man.
Right. That's it. Like, don't get married anymore. Like, do not get married anymore. If it doesn't work out 2 times.
I used to watch CNN a lot. And there was a guy, what was his name? Larry King.
Yeah.
Yeah, he seems like a stable guy because, you know, like he has a nice job broadcasting every night, Monday through Friday. So you would think that, you know, this is
he's got his stuff together for the most part.
Wholesome guy. Did my research on him. He was married 5 times.
See, and how old were the people he was married to?
They were young.
And that's the
Young
thing.
women.
It'd be young women. It'd be these guys marrying these young chicks 5 times. And it's like, you know, why are you marrying them? Just wipe them up for a little while. Have fun. I'm sure they'll be happy with that and send them on their way switch them out.
But
like,
it goes back to what we were saying. Like,
you got the bread to do that. You don't need to be like, but it's true. Like, why? Like, as a celebrity, why are you getting caught up in a prostitution scandal, sex ring, drug trafficking situation? Like, you have too much money and too many resources at your availability to be getting caught up. Like, why are you? It's 2 a.m. Why are you in LA Boulevard trying to pick up a prostitute when your net worth is $5 million? And I'm sure you could have one girl in your phone that you could call and offer her however much money you were going to offer this prostitute, or take her on a date so it's not prostitution at that point, and y'all just go home and have sex after and you be just fine. But you want to like be weird about it because of what? Like the thrill? Like, why do people do that? I want to know why rich people put themselves and jeopardize themselves in stupid situations that they don't have to be in when they have way more resources than any other human being.
It goes back to what we said. Like, after a couple of times, you just mentally clock out. So after 2 times, it's just like, you know, that's probably when you lose, you know, your conscience of making like moral decisions.
So you think they're just not thinking rationally anymore?
Yeah, because after the first time,
desensitized almost.
The first time you probably put so much energy into that marriage. The second time it's like 50%. After the second time, you're probably not even your true self.
You don't
anymore.
even care anymore.
So it's just like, that's when you're just going off for like whatever.
You're just going through, oh, baby, you want to get married? Sure. Why not?
It's just like, yo, I'm just doing it for sure. I'm doing it to prove to my points that, you know, like I'm stable. And
But it's like, why would you put yourself through all that? Now
it's
you
like,
gotta pay all these people money after you guys get divorced because that's what happens, and then you got to go through the headache of getting divorced and getting married and remarried and all dealing with these people. I don't know. It's too much.
That's probably why
that's too much.
Some people we rather deal with parent conflict, even though it has more psychological damage onto the child. From the parents' viewpoint, I feel like they'd rather put up with that because if the divorce does proceed, they're probably like, I won't be my true self anymore. I'm probably gonna, I'm probably gonna lose myself.
A piece of myself.
Exactly.
Especially when you've been with somebody for so long.
But see, the sacrifice of that is
your own well-being and your child's well-being. Yeah.
So it's like, we can divorce, but it's gonna take a hit on us, the parents. But if we stay and just argue, it's gonna take a hit on the child. So
you got some, like, I don't know. It's you got some work to do. Like put in the work and figure it out and fix it.
Do you feel like does co-parenting discontinue after the child reaches 18 years of age?
No, because I feel like parenting is a lifelong job. You'll never not be a parent once you're a parent.
Even though it's co-parenting.
Oh, co-parent. Yeah, you're still a parent. You're just co-parenting. I mean, well, yeah, co-parenting, I guess. It just depends on but if you're 18, like, do you have a legal obligation to be a co-parent until 18, or can you just not
See, that's
do
the
that
thing.
at all? Like, all right,
Because
you're 18 now.
Because
now
when
I'm
you're
not-
co-parenting, it's like both parents are involved. So it's
Yeah.
like a mutual agreement. They're probably doing it not even out of love, probably because it's like, all right, we hate each other, but let's just do this for the sake of the child. But once
Yeah.
that child reaches 18, both parents are probably looking at each other like we held our duties. Like we
Yeah.
don't have to be here,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Like if we're here past 18, it's probably for major milestones that our child hit.
Right. So we got to be present for them.
But I want to see if I want to see the statistics. Does it discontinue after 18 years, or is it
think-
like a lifelong journey?
I'll say for me, in my case, it's a lifelong journey. My parents are still they'll still pull up for important things or whatever. Just if we're all in the same city, like we all went to Las Vegas for my brother and sister's 31st or 32nd birthday, and my mom was there, my sister was there, whole family. Excuse me, niece and nephews, everybody. And I think if I was in that situation, knock on wood, I would be there for depending on how crazy the baby mama would be. But I wouldn't even put myself in that situation, so I couldn't even fathom that. But yeah,
Do parents who co-parent hate each other, or do they just tolerate each other?
they could like each other. They could still want to be with each other. They just can't be with each other because they don't know how to be with each other. They could love being around each other, or they could hate being around each other,
Okay.
depending on the circumstances of their falling out or why they couldn't be together. Yeah, it could be. It's a bunch of.
How do co-parents react when they see that other parent's significant other?
When they see the other parent's significant other. Shoot. I mean, they could be wilding, they could be chilling, they could be.
Because it's like, think about it, like
I feel like a lot of people be okay with being a co-parent until the other person gets in a relationship, and then it becomes a problem. Like,
because check this out too. Justin Bieber, I remember he was trying to marry Selena Gomez, and I guess she was just trying to, keep to herself. She felt like she had to learn more about herself. And Justin got with Hailey, they married, and then Selena felt a certain type of way, even though she could have been a Bieber.
yeah. It's,
so
it's the classic case of maybe it's like you don't know what you got until it's gone. But she seems to be happy now. She found that one guy with the afro, the white dude with the like Jew afro. Maybe it was a blessing in disguise, like you thought that's what you wanted, and now like look at you, found something better. If it's truly what she wants, I don't know.
Do children directly or indirectly blame themselves for divorce? Like, do they feel responsible for their guilt and shame?
I never carried any responsibility. That's not my problem. Okay. That's two people. They're still their own people. Like, people have to realize your parents are still their own people, and they're still dealing with things that you're not seeing on a day-to-day basis. So I don't blame myself for what they went through, because a bunch of people go through it. It's just something that happens when it happens. And regardless if you have kids or if you don't have kids, if you don't want to be with somebody and you're married, what do? You get a divorce. And that's something like, some people probably get divorced because they do have kids. They could be like, I didn't want this child, and you said we could have this child, and you thought it would make me change and we be better. Like, that's a tale as old as time too. Women have kids with men who tell them they don't want to have kids with them, and they still have it because they think that it's going to change that person. And then they're a single mother, and it's like, bro, like, you gotta make smarter decisions. People gotta make smarter decisions.
blame yourself because it's not like you asked to be here. So I guess you felt.
Not even that I didn't ask to be here. It's just what could I have possibly done to contribute to my parents' divorce? Knowingly, like there's nothing. I was just being a kid. I didn't know anything about it. Like I said, I was completely blindsided. I came home one day and it happened. So like any like behaviors that I was exhibiting, it's not like I was being scolded on a daily basis or I was being blamed for anything. Like why can't you put the dishes away in the right spot, and like why you're just useless and you're just. But there are people's parents who tell them that you'll never amount to anything, and I don't know why I had you, and you're horrible. But like you can't believe it, but it's people parents who really talk to them like that, and it like messes them up completely. Like I've seen it, I've dealt with it, I've been around it. So nah, there's nothing I could think of that I did or did not do to contribute to it. Nor would I take blame even if somebody did tell me, like, oh, like if they tried to tell me, I'd be like, no, that's bullshit, because that's just not true. I said, y'all had 2 other kids.
Parents have to
And
learn
I was
to
the
listen.
last one. I was the one that they wanted to have. So I win.
Parents have to learn to listen to their children more, especially children who are impacted by divorce. Those children may say things that parents don't want to hear, but those things are crucial for the parents to hear. Was there ever something you shared with your mother or father as a kid that had them thinking? Like something small that planted a seed and had a major impact?
In their life?
Yeah.
In my life? In their life?
Yeah, because when you're a child of divorced parents, you may say something and they may take it as, something monumental. So was there ever a moment like you thought you were just saying just, regular statement and they just took it as, like, wow, like,
No, nothing that I can think of off the top of my head. I don't think I've.
because when you're a kid, you're just rambling. You're just rambling.
Yeah.
So was there ever a time like you said something and they just stuck with them?
Like something profound.
Yeah.
Nah, not that I can think of. I just can't think back that far. Like I can't. There's been times where there's been situations where we got like me and my mom. We have deep conversations, especially when we go out. Like we'll go out and we'll go to the bar and stuff. Like she's my favorite drinking buddy. Like we'll go out, we'll go to the bar, we'll get us some drinks or whatever, and we'll be chilling. And like sometimes we'll be chilling, sometimes we'll have deep conversations. But yeah, like the stuff that we talked about, like I feel like she wouldn't expect it to come from me.
No, okay.
Just being like her son for one, or just two, not even knowing how I'll be thinking. Like.
So when the rich or the 1% divorce, is it even taken seriously since their divorce is more optional than a requirement?
It depends on how like publicized it is. Like if it happens outside of the public eye, and I'm sure it has more impact. But if it's like it kind of feels like publicity after it happens a couple times, and this person is, on TMZ every weekend. Like Brad Pitt, for example. Like how you said it shocked me, but it's like I wouldn't be shocked. Like you're a celebrity, you're an actor. Like
so, like even if the media doesn't publicize it, like the two of them even listening to the fact that one of them won a divorce, should that even be taken seriously since they're like part of the 1%? It's like at that point they're divorcing. Is it more?
There's still people, but I think they'll just be better off after than the average person. Like. Your life might not be in shambles. Well, it could be in shambles if somebody, because you hear it all the time, like people get divorced and they lose all their money or they have to give away everything and they have to start from square one again. So it could hold weight in and outside of the public eye, I guess.
Speaking of the 1%, I remember when Bill Gates and Melinda Gates divorced, she stated her reasons. I guess it was due to Bill's close relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. But for the sake of her maintaining her family, could Melinda Gates just have swept whatever Bill did? Could she have just swept it under the rug and maintained her marriage with Bill just for the sake of keeping their marriage intact?
She could have, but that's a moral thing. She's still a person, though. Like if your image is more important to you than your morality, then. Sure, but if you got to pick one at that point, and she chose to be a human instead of being a robot for the world and being true to her feelings, so yeah. She could have. She could. It's the same thing when the guy cheats on you. When a woman cheats on you, I mean, are you gonna take her back? Or if a guy cheats on you, you're gonna take him back and let him be a repeat offender? Or are you gonna walk away and be like, I have some self-respect for myself, and it's bigger than just the money or the, whatever this person is providing me? Because obviously they don't respect me enough to not disrespect me. So
I guess me personally, like I don't even take divorce from those type of people seriously, because it's just like, man, like at that point it's just like, you're not poor, you're not lower middle class, you're not upper middle class.
You're gonna be better off. You're gonna be more well off than the average person would be.
Yeah, it's like this shouldn't even be a news that the media needs to hear.
Yeah, like what's the point?
Yeah, so
like you said, it's for publicity. It's attention. It's to keep you relevant.
So that's my viewpoint, but I'm gonna just also have that viewpoint that they're also people. They're also people because they have emotions and they have a soul. So with that being said, Bill Gates admitted that he messed up. So should that have acted as groundwork for them to reconcile and get their family back?
I mean, just because you admit your wrongs, that doesn't mean that you're entitled to a second chance. So no, if that's not what the other person wants.
But if he's worth, let's say, 100 billion, the rules to get back.
But how much is she worth? I'm sure she has her own bread too. So if that's the thing, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why people out there always have your own money, always have your own stuff going for you, because that you can't use that as leverage no more. Okay, like, all right, I'm gonna stay with you because you got $100 million. If you had your own 100 million, you feel like shit. Me stay with you? What? And you disrespected me? I'm going. I'm out of there quick. You wouldn't even think about it because you feel like the man and you feel like you had all the options and you had everything going for yourself. So no, like, even if he had 100 million, like, let me see. Let me see. What's her name? Melinda? Amber Rose looking bad. Melinda Gates. Okay, Melinda French Gates.
I mean, she got money.
She has $302 billion. That's as of 2025.
Wait, read that again.
$30.2 billion.
But that was the net worth due to the divorce.
All right, we'll do pre-divorce.
So that's what I'm saying. So basically, if the man admits, if this rich man is like, yeah, I messed up.
Before their divorce, Melinda's Gates net worth was estimated to be around $11 billion to $13.5 billion, a significant portion of the couple's combined wealth of over $124 billion. So the combined wealth was $124 billion, but post-divorce, before their divorce, Melinda's net worth was, she had $11 billion.
But it's almost like saying like his money was also her money. So it's just like, I'm pretty sure she had some shares into like Microsoft. But I guess what I want to know is, like, ultimately, let's say this man admits that he messed up and he sits her down. He's like, don't proceed with this divorce. Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm worth 100 billion. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't, you shouldn't treat me any different from anyone that would have did the same thing.
Based off of my status and my wealth,
but I'm really trying to get
materialistic things that.
But I'm really trying to get my family together. Mm-hmm. What do you say?
Me, I'm gonna say I'm gonna be like, okay, we gotta like, it's not gonna be the same though. Like it's like taking somebody back after they betrayed your trust. It's never gonna be the same. You're forever gonna be skeptical. You're always gonna want to know where they are, what they're doing, whatever. Like. But it's going to take work. Like, I'm not saying that it can't happen or that somebody isn't worth a second chance.
The word is accumulate with the shorty. My bad, bro.
It just came to you.
Yo, I would have forgot.
It just came to you. I'm trying to get it.
Is there a correlation between wealth and not caring about your children? So basically, does an increase in wealth numb the super rich from having emotional attachment to their children?
If they try to buy them or do something like that, like a lot of rich kids be getting bought out by their parents because they would rather just give them everything they want than invest any time in actually getting to know them on an emotional level. So I can only imagine if your parents were divorced and they were already like that, how much more that would contribute to that problem.
Should there be a limit as to how much kids the super rich should have. Like, for example, Elon Musk, richest man in the world. He's the poster boy for AI and the technological future. But
Hmm.
he has 13 kids. So should the super rich, should there be a limitation as to how much kids they have?
Oh, so how many kids they have? No, I don't think so. Because then that's putting like some weird restriction on reproducing, which is what we're here to do, regardless of like these people accumulated their wealth. They worked for their money. They earned their money, whether it have been in a scandalous way or an honest way. They still put in the work to get the money that they made. So yeah, they should be able to have as many kids they want. Those kids should be as rich as they want, and they should buy whatever they want. Like, and of course, as long as it's not hurting anybody or you're not destroying the planet or anything like that, or sure. I mean, if
So
you,
there's the likelihood of some of those kids not being giving attention.
oh yeah, yeah, you
Okay.
got 13 kids, bro. I'm assuming he has every hour in his day probably like dedicated to something, or majority of his day is probably dedicated to his work or whatever Elon Musk does. But to make the time to take care of 13 kids or to no, that's impossible. That's ridiculous. Probably got 13 different nannies.
Can one parent initiate a divorce as payback for something the other parent did?
Probably, yeah. I could see somebody being super petty and doing that on some weird stuff for no reason. That's got to be up there with super weirdo activity, but I'm sure there's somebody who's divorced their spouse because they had like a disagreement or they wanted them to do something, they didn't do it, and they went overboard.
How do parents deal with children who love the presence of the other parent? Do they get angry?
Being divorced,
Yeah.
probably yeah, because people get jealous even when they're not divorced and they're like married. Like like oh he said dada first instead of mama, or he said mama first instead of dada. Like it's a kind of like more of a playful banter on jealousy, but you still would rather have him said mama before dada or dada before mama. But yeah, I think even in and out of relationships, parents can kind of be like, because you hear it all the time, like, oh, I don't really connect with my daughter on the same level that her dad does, or whatever. So, but that's something you got to work on. You got to like, they're a person, bro. You don't know them just because you have them doesn't mean you know them. Especially once they're grown and they can start thinking for themselves, which happens way earlier nowadays than it did back in the day because of everything and just how fast the world moves.
Does co-parenting further hurt the parents? Like, for example, let's say the parents who are co-parenting attended a basketball game for their child, and the parents obviously won't be sitting next to each other. So one parent sitting over there, the other parent sitting over there.
Mm-hmm.
And after the game, that child has to choose which parent he's going to hug first. So let's say he hugged the mother, the dad is probably going to feel a certain type of way. Let's say the child hugs the father, the mother's going to feel a certain type of way. So ultimately, does co-parenting hurt the parents? Does it further hurt them?
If they take it to heart, if they think about it that deep, I think maybe on some level, it's because I mean, yeah, that could be pretty deep.
Can children be used? Can children be used as pawns during a divorce?
Yeah, it happens all the time. Yeah, I dated a girl who was like that. Like, cause people drag their parents, like people's parents drag their kids into court and have them testify on the stand, like when they're going through that stuff, or like they can. So yeah, I've known people who have gone through that and they said it was like very traumatic to have to basically like lie on the other parent or have your parent tell you to tell a narrative of your of their like ex to get, even though it may or may not be true.
I had a high school French teacher who said that she didn't want kids, and I don't remember the reason why she stated, but why do you feel like middle class individuals wouldn't want kids?
It's too expensive, bro. Can't nobody afford no child. We could barely afford our own lives. So now you have a kid, and it's like you don't want your kid to be struggling.
But this was like pre-pandemic days. This was like I graduated high school in 2014.
I graduated high school in 2014.
So it's like And you know, she's a French teacher. She went to France many times, and it's just like you're hearing. So she's living
Maybe she could just want to live her life and not be tied down. Like me being 29, I feel like at this point, if I don't have kids in the next like 2 or 3 years, bro, like I don't even know. I don't even know if I want kids anymore now. I think I'm open to having kids. If I met somebody and they wanted to have kids, that was like, I'll be like, okay, cool. But if I met somebody who didn't want to have kids, I think I'd also be perfectly fine having all my time to myself and just being able to like travel and enjoy not having the stressors of raising a whole human being on top of a relationship, on top of working a job, on top of my own personal life, on top of family life. Like it's already so many other things that you have to take care of. So putting that on that is just
John Cena in an interview on the Club Shay Shay podcast with Shannon
ooh, we're
Sharp.
gonna talk about what him and homegirl Bella, the Bella twins.
No,
Oh damn! I got
sorry,
excited.
but this
He said,
probably
"I'm sorry,"
this probably involves that in a way indirectly.
because I know they didn't want to have kids, and that's the reason they got divorced. Because I used to watch the show that they had, the Bella twins.
And they were married?
Yeah, that John Cena and Nikki Bella got married.
How long were they?
No, they were dating. They were
Oh,
proposed.
yeah, they were fiancé, they were engaged. Yeah, but that was the big thing. Like she wanted to have kids, and he didn't want to have kids. But he told her. He always told her. Like John Cena kept it 100 from day one. On that show, he said it a million times. I'm sure off the show, he said it a million times. He was like, "Look, I just don't want to have kids." He was like, "It's nothing to do with you. It's nothing to do with me. I just don't want to have kids."
Yeah.
But she just like couldn't accept that. She was like she tried to be with him. She tried to make it work over and over and over again, but it was like just a constant thing in their relationship. And then they broke up, and now she found somebody who she wants to have kids with, and they have kids in their relationship.
Yeah.
So
Well, on the Club Shay Shay podcast, he gave his reasons and as to why he didn't want children.
what did he say?
He said, one, he's curious about life and he wants to live life to the fullest. Two, fearing of not being ready to investing in time and effort. And three, the intense commitment it takes to raise a child. So
It's no joke, bro. That's why I don't know how people just do it.
So would you say
willy-nilly.
there's a difference between someone who's rich who doesn't want kids versus someone who's like in that middle class bracket, such as my high school French teacher who didn't want kids? Is there a difference?
It could be, but I feel like the reasons would probably be similar, universal. And like the same reasons he gave, wanting to live your life to the fullest without having the commitment of being basically tied down to something and someone for forever. On top, like, because anybody else you meet in your life, you don't have to be tied down to them forever.
And you know the irony of John Cena, I think he gave a lot to the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Oh yeah. Dude, he's a pro wrestler. Like he probably did 1 million of those like last wish cancer things, you know? Like he probably up there with Captain America when they ask for a request for Make-A-Wish Foundation. So it's not like he probably doesn't like kids. He just doesn't want to have his own. I love kids. I mean, they can, but I know when they start crying and they start whining and they start fussing and they start being brats and it's just too much. Like I don't need to deal with that.
Why does the court favor the mother for the most part during a custody trial or hearing?
You said, why does the mother what?
Why does the judge favor the mother for the most part when it comes to custody hearing or trials?
Because that's the way the world works.
Like, let's say the father, let's say they're better off with the father, some way, somehow, the judge is going to give it to the mother. So why is it always in the favor of the mother?
Because women are usually seen as the victims in situations in life. And they're seen as like, you know, the damsel in distress, so to speak. Like, so I think that's why. It's just, yeah.
Are there things you feel like you would have, I'm sorry.
What? No, go ahead.
Okay. Are there things you feel like you would have been an expert in if both of your parents stayed in your life? Like, for example, Nyjah is your favorite skateboarder.
No, he's not my favorite skater.
Nyjah?
No, he's not my favorite. No.
Is it Tony Hawk?
No, he's not my favorite.
Well, you describe them to be one of the GOATs.
Yeah, they're really good skaters.
Okay,
Yeah.
you describe them to be one of the GOATs in he his parents are actually divorced, but they're divorced basically when his career took off. But during those early development stages, they were in his life. So, do you feel like there would have been a field you would have excelled at if you lived in a 2-parent household?
The field of life, probably more excelled at that more. Like I always think back, like I wonder if I had 2 parents, I would probably like not skip school, and I would have probably been like more academically inclined. And it's like I just like to think of my life would it have been like if I was just on a straight and narrow path of like the quote unquote like normal way to live your life. Like didn't get into any mischief, was like really good in school, academic, like I wonder what that life looks like or where I'd
but
be
can you
now.
envision that field? Because like with Nigel, like both parents stayed
No.
skateboarding. Like he took
Maybe it
off.
would have been, I would have learned how to play guitar. I would have been in a band and I could have been a really rock star or something like I had dreamed of. Because my mom, she did take me to guitar lessons. She was always like advocating for that. But it got to a point where when she started doing that, I was older and I didn't care anymore. The dream was gone, even though the dream is never gone.
So let's talk about divorce attorneys. Like, why would someone choose to be a divorce attorney?
The money, like plain and simple. Like,
but it's like the whole process. They constantly have to deal with the whole process of people divorcing, and at that point, it's not even a job. It's like you're self-torturing yourself.
To a degree, or you could be educating yourself on why not to get married because you're seeing how much you're getting the first experience of like the reasons why it's going wrong in the first place. Divorce attorneys are low key probably like marriage counselors. Because they see firsthand why this is failing and why things didn't go to plan.
Can the parent who has custody of the child actually hate that child even if the child loves them?
Yeah.
You've heard stories, or have you personally experienced it?
Intervention. I watched enough episodes of Intervention to know like that can happen all the time. And sometimes like that could be like you said, they could just be using the child as a pawn to get child support or something. They could probably not even want the kid. But it's just if they have this kid, they can claim this kid on their taxes and get $500 more. And so now that's a whole nother check. Like it's messed up, bro. Like people be hating their kids. For some weird reason. Yeah, some people for some weird reason. It's like I didn't choose to be born. Like you chose to have me. So why like what did I do that made your life so wrong? You should have thought about that way before. Like you had plenty of chances when you peed on that stick and said it was pregnant to go get an abortion. If you felt like, oh, I want to have a kid because I feel like it's not right to get an abortion. Well, why are you treating your kid like shit then? They would have been better off, whatever, and this fictional, wherever we are before we're born. So,
Brian, thank you for this episode.
You're welcome. Anytime.